Major developments this week in the ongoing saga surrounding San Diego's pension fund. Federal charges were dismissed against 5 former city officials and pension board members for an alleged deal to underfund the pension system in exchange for increased benefits. And a state court ruled that San Diego doesn't have to pay another $177 million into the pension system. KPBS reporter Allison St. John joins me now to explain. Welcome, Allison.
Glad to be here, Gloria.
All right. Help us understand the financial obligations connected to the pension fund. We have a graphic to help explain how it all fits together.
So basically, the fund does actually have liabilities of $6.3 billion, as we see there at the top. But what is actually in the fund? $4.2 billion. So that means there's $2.1 billion that the city does not have to meet its long-term liabilities over time. Now, the green figures are in fact more important because that's what the city has to pay in every year. $232 million is what it's going to be paying in the next year. And the bottom figure relates to this lawsuit that just got settled this week.
All right, so we don't have to pay the $177 million. What's the significance of that?
Well, as you can imagine, it's a huge sigh of relief. The city has just avoided a bullet, in a way. That $177 million would have had to have been paid, on the spot to the pension fund if they had won the suit. However, the judge said that previous lawsuits, in fact, precluded them from arguing that the city owed that money.
That's good, considering the fact that the city is wrestling with a big deficit periodically. Let's talk about the federal charges that were dropped against those 5 pension and city officials. First of all, what were they accused of doing?
Well, they were accused of denying the public their right to honest services, is the federal law under which they were being accused by the U.S. Attorney's Office.
And why were they acquitted?
Well, we should also perhaps explain that the reason that they were being charged was because of that whole situation back in 2002 where they proposed a plan to underfund the pension plan at the same time as increasing benefits. So they were acquitted because Judge Benitez, the federal judge, said that the federal law is actually it's too vague for them to really be able to see how what they were doing might have been denying the public fair services. So essentially it's saying that what they say is vindicated, that they were just doing their job. They were representing the interests of their constituents on the pension board, and this was a deal that they were presenting to the city council, so the charges didn't stand.
Do you expect there'll be an appeal of any sort?
Well, at the moment, the U.S. Attorney's Office has until May 6th to decide, so they are considering that, whether to go ahead with that or not.
Well, what conclusion should we, the public, draw from the fact that these charges were dropped or were dismissed?
It's so interesting because, for years we've seen news stories about the scandal it appeared to be, and there was talk of conflict of interest, and Mike Aguirre tried to roll back the benefits. And now we've come to the point that both the state Supreme Court and a federal court has exonerated all of the people who were indicted in that case. The city council people who also voted on it were charged with negligence only, so nobody so far, except Ron Sadoff, is still on the hook for some personal benefits he got from the whole deal. Otherwise, nobody is being held accountable legally for this, although there have been many, many ramifications.
And what's next for Ron Sadoff?
Ron Sadoff they're going to bring him back to look at dates for a possible trial in May also.
Okay, now I think the big question is what's the connection between either of these rulings and assurance that problems such as the underfunding of the pension system won't happen again?
Well, there have been a huge number of reforms done at the city, Gloria. I mean, they have done so much in terms of changing the makeup of the pension board, beefing up the audit committee. So there have been a lot of reforms. However, the underlying concept of what happened there, which was to push a debt into the future, there's really nothing to protect the public from that. And in fact, what we just saw very recently with the City Council agreeing to push a $185 million debt further ahead into the future in order to save money now, that same strategy is still there. And I think the public has not really gotten any guarantees that something not the same but similar might not be still in the works.
Well, thank you very much, Allison St. John.
Thank you, Gloria.